So a very positive message from one of the cities we are going to reflect upon at the conference, though not being one of the core partner cities, is Medellin in Colombia, which has often been branded in the recent years as having turned from being murder capital in Latin America to model city. Model city because in particularly highly violent areas the last two administrations, city administrations, were able to turn around the situation and have significantly improved social cohesion, daily routines, and pacified those very problematic areas. They have done so by a whole range of social programs that are connected to infrastructure improvements, and the most visible is a new transport system that connects a very hilly informal area through a metro cable, which is a tramway system that operates like systems we might know from skiing in the Alps or from areas where you have to really climb a steep hill, and allows access to people that normally don't profit from any form of public transport and are very remote, therefore, from the core formal labor market. In addition to that program, they established very well-designed public institutions such as public libraries and schools, and they not only are of an enormous architectural quality, but because of that are able to give the local community a sense of pride they have not been exposed to previously. So very important, that link between architecture and what architecture, if it's done well, can do for people and how they feel about the environment. So that's the just one highlight on the story of how to improve security. On the negotiating city design, the question of how can we improve the relationship between private developers and those working for the public, city officials trying to implement higher design qualities. I think there is a continuous struggle with two areas. Number one, the sustainability aspect of the built environment, the extent to which the new buildings comply with the latest energy efficiency standards, to which extent they also allow for more passive use of energy, so they do not require air conditioning in a climate that is actually perfectly well suited to have no heating and no technical climate system at all. If you design a building incredibly well in Sao Paulo, same as in Mexico City, you can avoid any of these additional very costly, very energy intensive systems. So the environmental, that's just one example, but this goes all the way to where to locate, whether you have public transport and non-motorized access, whether you are located close to working and whether you locate working close to housing areas, and particularly allow for alternatives beyond motorization. So that continues to be a major concern. The second one, where we see a degree of a failure of that negotiation between private and public, is the way the new buildings speak to the street, the public spaces, and in fact the extent to which they are truly inclusive and therefore public spaces. We'll see the emergence of more and more privatized space, gated communities, territories that are only open to those users that have a business interest, whether it's shopping or in fact being employed within the area, having prime access. So the question here is really, how do we get away from that rather short-term thinking within the private sector, while attaching a role to public bodies facilitating that negotiation. And throughout the year we have looked a lot at models from cities around the world that seem to have come up with a whole range of more progressive forms of establishing better design, not least London, where 10 years ago architecture was still at a completely different quality of what it is today. And that was helped by a stronger mayoral strategic office that had an interest in design quality, that also very clearly put new standards at the strategic level of the planning for London, where all developers knew that they should rather comply with these new standards in order to get planning permission. But also there are other ways of ensuring the private sector has an embedded interest in a long-term success of a new area of the city being built. And that is through development agencies, ensuring that an area is really catered for, independent from political cycles, for a long-term range of long-term perspective, and automatically then feeds back into different private sector decisions.
Yeah.
There are other examples from cities such as Barcelona, Madrid. In Germany, the case of Berlin is quite intriguing to understand how architecture has really improved in recent years. But I think the challenge for the Brazilian context will remain to rely on a very effective and just nation state that has also the authority to really speak on behalf of the general public. And that's where participation is another key factor, where the engagement of local communities in your planning decisions is absolutely critical.
Okay. Okay, Philip, thanks a lot for your interview. I think it was very enlightening for us, so thanks.
Pleasure.
Bye bye.